Hello. Very nice to see you all. This is the Awaken the Shaman Q&A live. We're a little bit late starting because there's some technical difficulties, but very cool. Just going to bring up the thread so I can see if there are any questions. But basically today I'm going to talk about Awaken the Shaman, the upcoming program starting the 26th this month that runs for 3 weekends and is the SA introduction to moving and tracking energy in a sort of more involved way. And it's also the introduction to the shamanic skills of journeying, sending your awareness out into the sort of astral and etheric worlds, meeting nature spirits, and beginning to track energy and emotion in other people to clear them. Let's see if there are any questions. I have some questions already that we'll be able to answer. And if you've got questions, put them below and I can have a look at them. But one of the questions that I'm always asked is, am I ready to take Awaken the Shaman? I don't feel ready, or I'm not sure if I've got the right skills. And funnily enough, everyone feels this way. I mean, I felt this way in the foundations class I took with Bonnie in my first class. I felt like everyone else was able to track, was able to work with energy, was really effective at what they were doing. And I wasn't really able to see anything. I didn't know why I was there. And that training changed my life. It sort of opened me up to a whole world of energy and sort of psychic understanding and being able to really become more intimate with energy. And so my experience is, if you're not sure if you're ready, but you're really excited about the program, usually you're sort of being drawn to it as a deepening to wake up the parts of yourself that already remember how to do this. It's a remembering. And the other thing is that if you have some sense of energy, as in not everyone assumes that sort of tracking energy should be like a movie where you just see all these energetics and it's like a HD screen movie, and that's just not the case. People have different gifts and faculties. So some people really feel energy. They really have a felt sense in their body. You might feel a different kinds of vibration or felt gut senses or tingling, or you might feel other people's emotional stuff, and that's all a kind of tracking. So lots of people feel. Some people have what we call the knowing. You just intuitively know without knowing how. You know something. You know that you should go and check on your friend Mary, or you should go and buy some more bread, or you should go to this corner shop that you never go to. And when you follow that knowing, there's a reason for it. You're meant to be there. You're meant to meet the person there. You're meant to avoid going home and not having any bread. So the knowing is one of the most important senses that we look for in all the trainings, and that's the core sense we're looking to develop, because it's the relationship with divinity. It's the relationship with truth. That's what knowing is. It's a direct sort of knowing from the divine. But some people have that kind of sense. Some people are more visual. They see energy. They see and track sort of energy as sort of through their kind of psychic kind of third eye in a kind of sense. Some people hear frequencies. Occasionally I smell things, but it's really rare. Some people have a bit more of a nose for energy. But those are the main kind of senses. And if you don't have to have all of them, you don't have to have more than one. But if you have a way of sensing energy, then that's enough to get your foot in the door and really begin to track. So tracking is a process that takes time and practice. And if you come and explore this program, which has pods where you're supervised in tracking each other with me or another accelerator, it's a really great place to develop this skill. So actually, I would say like sort of tracking is the main thing that's developed in these programs. Is sort of certainly Awaken the Shaman and Foundations. It's a really core skill for learning to really work with energy. It's being able to really track where it's coming from. And Awaken the Shaman really gets us in the door with that. It really gets us started. And one of the main ways we learn to do that in Awaken the Shaman is through tracking nature energies and nature spirits. And this is a fantastic way of learning to track, because most of the healers that I have met are traumatized in some way. And it's partly a result of past lifetimes where they have experienced persecution for doing this work. And they don't want to open up. They don't want to move into those skills. They don't want to become really visible with them. And one of the ways around that is to hang out and practice with nature energies for a while, because it really brings up our confidence, and it really brings up our something in us relaxes around nature, because we're familiar with it, we're comfortable with it, and we can really relax into tracking it in a different way. So in this program, we do lots of tracking with nature beings and nature spirits. We spend a lot of time going into journeys where we're specifically looking for sacred power places, and I sort of guide the group to these different nature places and nature realms, and let our awareness meet the spirits and kind of energetics of nature. And it's a wonderful way for our tracking to become more refined, because something in us feels very comfortable with nature. It's easier to do this than it is to sort of throw yourself into the cosmos, into other dimensions. And it's a bit more familiar because it's around us all the time. One of the other questions I often have about this show, and if you're joining us, please, if you've got any questions about Awaken the Shaman, drop them in the chat as a comment, and I'll be able to read them and try and answer you. So it could be questions around tracking and journeying. It could be questions around what is shamanism, or what are the shamanic skills that this course has got in it, or if you're curious about any aspects of that or any aspects of the program, we'd love to hear. So a question as well that sort of sometimes comes up is what's the difference between what you're teaching in Awaken the Shaman and traditional shamanism? And the answer is that there is quite a difference. So in the past, shamanism is these are traditional cultural arts that have a strong root in a community somewhere that has a very strong relationship with the local land. And the shamanic practices, there might be different words for it in different cultures, are largely an expression of that. They're an expression of community and communion with the land, trying to harmonize the relationships between humanity and the beings and spirits and energies that live in the land where they live, to make sure those relationships are good, and to make sure that sort of the dynamic of power and energy flowing through that community and the land is balanced and healthy. What we're doing is quite removed from that, because we're not a community living on a single piece of land with a set of relationships with local land spirits. And it's informed by the sense of awakening and transformation that's happening now, where sort of a lot of the denser ways of working with energy that more related to kind of beings that have sort of, we'll just call them denser beings that have an agenda. Because shamanism in the past, it's just they had a job to get done, and they weren't always too fussy about how it gets done. It's just making sure ensuring something is sort of taken care of. But the relationships in shamanism, often with local land spirits, they use all sorts of beings to get that work done. So in this sort of paradigm and in this sort of movement of awakening, the energetics that we work with have shifted, and we're looking much more to work with the light and work directly with the divine more than we are with local land spirits, although they're still an important part of our community, but we're not reliant on them to get things done. We're looking to develop a relationship with the divine, where the divine will facilitate what needs to happen out of divine intention. And the traditional cultural methods of working with the energetics and working with land spirits, including sort of it might be ceremony, dancing, drumming, use of plant medicine, are just not in our tradition. We're looking at the energetics from the point of view of not having that relationship with the land, being light workers in the 21st century, and kind of what an expression of Boni Saratori's work. So we're working much more directly with the divine, and we're working much more with kind of the knowing of divinity. and so the methods have changed, and we don't use traditional sort of methods for shamanic travel. We just do it directly through our awareness. We cultivate a kind of flexible and open awareness that can travel into different dimensions without these aids. It's sort of, on a certain point of view, we could say that they're useful tools, but if you don't need the tools, then that's even better. You know, we're looking to become free of any kind of need to rely on something. We're looking to develop our sort of relationship with divinity, and instead we're sort of trying to express that divine intention. But we can still develop a relationship with Gaia and with nature that is hugely transformative for healing. And so my favorite part of this course is to go and meet different nature spirits and elementals, and to take journeys into nature, to take journeys into different nature realms and places around the world. And there's a benefit to doing this. Beyond just developing our tracking skills, we really develop a connection with more of the life around us, with more of the elements and nature spirits that, you know, we're part of, because we're part of nature. Nature is an expression of the divine. Gaia is a sort of higher dimensional being, but she's an expression of the divine, and we're an expression of the divine too. And part of our body is an expression of nature. Part of our body is an expression of Gaia. So without Gaia and without nature, there would be no humanity. We're one family. And getting to know nature, getting to know our local sort of ecosystem that we're a part of, is really, really, really beautiful, because it sort of brings up this connection that's always there in the background that we may have, that humanity's kind of forgotten. We've kind of forgotten our deep relationship and interdependence with nature, and we've created a sort of sense of that we live outside of nature, but it's really not true. And we learn that, you know, so we want to have an appreciation for this relationship and to understand it more deeply, and also to share and experience communication and healing with nature. And nature is tremendously healing to be part of. It's there are nature beings that I turn to for healing and that I use in my healing work with clients. And this is the kind of things that we'll cover in the courses, how to develop relationships that facilitate healing in this class. Yeah, so if you're just joining us and you've got any questions about Awaken the Shaman, please drop them into the comment and then I can try and answer them. But it's just, I'm really excited to teach this class. It's one of my favorite classes. It's a lot of fun, partly because we go on all these journeys into nature, but we also cover all different kinds of techniques for working with energy, whether that's kind of using different elements to clear things, the fundamentals of moving energy, using the light, using kind of our intention, using different techniques to get emotional wounding to shift. And it's a nice introduction to tracking energy. We take our awareness into different parts of the energy system, the emotional body, the subconscious, different layers of wounding where things hang out. And we learn to begin to track those layers of the energy system so that we can bring healing there. Let's see. Are there any comments? So I think that it's probably not enough questions for me to kind of go over, but I'm happy to, if anyone has any questions, I'm very happy to address them. And if you're interested in the program, you're not sure if it's for you, please reach out to me privately. So you can email me at chris@Spiritual Acceleration. And sometimes people are on the fence about joining ATS, and they kind of want to know, where they're at and whether it would be appropriate. And I'm always very happy to talk to people. Sometimes it's the right time, and sometimes it's better to wait. But if you're interested in the program and you're not sure, please come and talk to me. I'd be very happy to chat. You can just email me and we'll set up a time. And this course is going to run over 3 weekends. So it's 3 sort of weekend modules of training with me and Tracy. And then it's got also four pods, so interactive pods, where we train to kind of do this work more specifically in a very small setting. So it would be 3 students in an accelerator, and we look to do kind of practice for energy healing, which is an important part of this training. The pods are where you really learn to anchor in the skills of the class and learn to sort of make them your own. And I think it's fantastic to have this kind of supervised learning. So I'm a really big fan of them, and they're a lot of fun. So that's a little bit of background. I also did a recent sort of guided journey to a tree recently, which is uploaded. So you can have a look at that and see if you enjoy sort of beginning the feeling of journeying, trying to tune into nature beings, this time by a photo, but just give it a go, see what you find. We'd be very happy to hear any experiences that you find. And the program starts in a couple of weeks. So if you want to join us, or if you're joining us, I really look forward to seeing you there. And if you have any questions about the program, please email me. So chris@spiritualacceleration.com. I'd be very happy to answer any questions you have about it, and look forward to seeing you there. All right, take care. Bye.